we're here at WorldCon 2025, and this is Taming the Perilous Skies, 100 Days to Launch, and this is just about as special an episode of this as it could be, because I'm here with some of the people that have been most influential, motivational, and supportive at my times of tears and crisis and self-doubt, which happen on an hourly basis to this moment. And so I'm just thrilled to share this episode, to talk a little bit about my journey, but also, more importantly, have them share what they're working on, what they hope for in their journey. I think it's fair to say that out of my Taos Toolbox friends and my Cascade friends, I think I'm the first to have a book that's actually printed on a table. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, okay. So, definitely, you've already heard this already in the other episodes, but steering towards traditional publishing, hoping for that 120, failed queries later, and I'm self-publishing and proud of it. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of that journey here. Yesterday, I'll just share briefly. It was a hard day. It was a hard day because I walked into a situation where it was really traditional publishing celebration, and it was all awesome and positive, and their authors are incredible. And I just felt, I felt a weight of all those failures of trying to break through. But then these folks all supported me and lifted me back up and said, this is what you're doing. Like, this is now you and what you're doing. And I'm proud of them. Happy about it, and I could not be more grateful to the folks here and all the other folks that went along with the ride with Taos Toolbox at Cascades and those way back in 2019 at Futurescapes. And so I'd like to go around and let's learn a little bit about who's around this arc with me right now. And so let's start with Daniel, who I met at Cascade Writers.
We met actually at WorldCon.
We did?
Yeah, we met at WorldCon
in
2021 in DC, yeah.
But then we were at Cascade.
Yes, so we went to a table talk together, and I was, pretty earnest about where I was in my journey at the time. And Phil saw me in the lobby looking lonely, I'm sure. And he came up and was like, hey, come here, I'm going to introduce you to everybody I know, which is basically everyone. So, since then, everybody here I've met through Phil. So I feel pretty, lucky to,
And what are you working on?
I am working on, I just finished a fantasy novel that I'm querying to agents for Big Five publication.
And so we'll just kind of go around. I'll ask you a couple questions and we'll keep going. But right now, what is your timing, do you hope, for being able to land a contract?
I don't know. Anywhere from 6 months to 6 years.
Okay.
Or 10. I don't really have... For me personally, I think that small successes are way more important than large successes, because writing is a very lonely endeavor, and so it's more important to find where your line in the sand is, what success means. And for me, it usually means books that I'm proud of, and then if I can publish them, that's awesome. So I hope to do that, and I really plan on doing it. I put a lot of energy into it, but that's not the outcome that is final success.
Cool. Thank you. So, Eric, not only a supporter and inspiration on my private writing world, but also an inspiration behind Spoken, whose booth we're sitting in right now. But help folks watching this know who you are, what you're working on.
So I'm Eric Johnson. I'm a short story author right now, working on a novel, hard sci-fi cyberpunk. I'm also working on a couple of shorts. While I was sitting here, I just realized that the novel I'm working on is actually my second novel. I wrote a novel for NaNoWriMo about 10 years ago.
Oh, NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
And did you put that out?
Hell no.
No.
Absolutely not. But I did it.
Yeah.
It's only 50,000 words, but it's done, and I did it.
Okay. But your current work?
My current work.
Which is fantasy?
No. My current work is hard sci-fi cyberpunk.
Oh, that's right. I keep putting it in the fantasy realm because of setting and all that, but it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And what's your hope for that work? Like timing, and what do you think?
Timing, so it's about 60% done, theoretically, because every time I write, it just gets longer and longer. but it should be, as I've kind of planned it out, should be about 60% done. I hope to get that done by the end of this year. This con has been fantastic because when I talk to people about it, they're like, great, when can I read it? And I have to go, soon? So I guess I just have to buckle down and finish it. If I can finish that by the end of the year, I can start querying, and then fingers crossed. I am going to go trat. I'm a masochist, I suppose, but we'll see.
Yeah, and so while we're on that, actually, we'll come back to that topic. Okay, Neil, we met at Taos 23, which is how the four of us, out of about 18 of us, and they're all busy. A couple of them, or one of them, is now a very successful new traditional publishing author, and another of our Futurescapes colleagues has just been picked up by Tor, which is all very exciting. But the four of us go Taos. So I met Neil at Taos. So
yeah, my name's Neil Flinchbach. Met Bill and these guys at Taos. It's a great experience. One of the things I've really enjoyed about this event is just reconnecting with you guys and branching out and meeting all the friends that you have made, elsewhere. So it's been really great to connect that way. I've been writing a dark fantasy novel, and I've written my whole life. Several years ago, I kind of decided to, and I kind of bounced around. Like I did playwriting for a while. So I was kind of all over the place. A couple years ago, I decided to get serious about fiction writing and publishing, kind of just really taking that seriously. And so going to Taos was like part of that. And yeah, I feel very good about where my novel is at. It's not finished, so as far as timeline goes, if you had asked me last year, I would have thought that it would be done by this point. But
life happens.
Revisions later, yes, and
Achilles' heels happen.
yeah, yeah, they rupture. Yeah, this happened to me. But yeah,
he's into contact sports. He is kind of a brute out there on the rugby field, and right, wasn't it rugby?
Pickleball.
Damn it, Neil. Just go with it. Sometimes you just have to go with it.
What contact pickleball?
Contact pickleball.
Oh yes, full contact pickleball.
And so timing for you, and are you going traditional?
I'm intending on doing traditional. Timing, it keeps getting pushed back. I'm hoping to finish my novel this year, and then revisions. I feel like it's hard to say because sometimes I'll write a piece that feels like it comes out perfectly, and then the next piece needs endlessly revised, and so it's hard to say, and I'm kind of more concerned with kind of making it the best that I can, as opposed to holding to it at my hand. Sure, that makes sense.
Excellent. Chris
Balliet,
father of Lily.
Yes, well, I was going to bring that up. So I write science fiction short stories at the moment. We workshopped my novel at Taos Toolbox, but my daughter is a freshly minted 4-year-old. And so a lot of my time and energy goes there. Phil, who was the heart of our Taos cohort,
I bought the wine.
And bringer of wine.
Wine. That's the only reason.
And the bringer of wine.
I brought the liver.
He was so kind as to take a story that my daughter was workshopping with our writing group and run it through spoken. And this was 1.5 years ago, and my daughter still talks about the British lady who read her story.
Victoria.
So that moment was so special to my family. But in terms of publication, the short fiction market is a bit different, and then I'm always chasing publication at a pro market level. My goals are aspirational, and I aim high and then trunk fast is my strategy. So we'll see how that goes. But that's that.
And you're published.
I am. I have one story published in Starship Sofa. Nick Mamatas, who is here, and I haven't found him yet, and I want to give him a hug. He bought it, and it put out an audio, and it was really an exciting experience that I'm looking to replicate.
And so you're SIPLA.
Not yet.
You're not SIPLA.
No.
Somebody else? Or you're SIPLA?
I'm SIPLA associate. I have sold one story to Analog. So one.
Didn't
Need to sell
you
some
sold
more.
the Analog.
I did.
Yeah.
But I'm associate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Lynn, Lynn Vandegraff, whose name I saw on a piece of paper, and I said, I'm going to talk with him because of his last name. Little did I know that what a precious gem of a human I would get to know. So,
All right, my name is Len Vandegraff. I'm based in Carlton. In 2019, I started working on a novel called Midnight the Messenger, and I went to my first writing conference. And since then, I finished the novel, and I'm in my third revision of it, and this will be the sort of final revision. Halfway through between 2019 and now, I thought I was done and queried it for a bit. But this novel has been the novel where I learned how to write a novel. So going to workshops, meeting people, getting feedback on it, and just continually, I'm sure that I have put aside more words than currently exist in the novel, but the process of like learning how to write it has been incredible, and I feel now like I have the knowledge to finish it the way I more or less want it to be and move on to the next thing. In terms of my journey in publishing, I'm going to query this one when it's done. I would love to go the trad publishing route, but since 2019, the landscape for independent publishing has really shifted. And coming into this WorldCon, one of the questions I was bringing was, what would it look like if I pivoted, if this doesn't work out traditional publishing? What would it mean? What would it look like to sort of have control over the way it looks, the kind of audience that I bring it to and how I bring it to that audience, and how I would feel about that. So those are open questions. And, Phil's example is a really good one to be seeing right now for me. And that's kind of where I am.
thanks. That's awesome. And so everybody's going traditional, or at least that's the first step.
First step.
Right. You're more short. You'll be a novelist someday.
One day.
And so I just reflected on sort of the changing landscape. And for me personally, it changed because I just ran into a wall, right? I just had nowhere else to go with it. I am getting to work out, so help me God. So, that was my journey. But what else have you guys heard just about, like, as you're sitting here in WorldCon in Seattle, which has got to be the best audio location, right? Just because of sci-fi and just kind of the rule of play. But what are you guys hearing at the cons as far as the publishing world? Is it getting harder? Is it getting easier? Are there more options or less? What's the sentiment?
It's getting more stratified. So there's a smaller number of high level authors that get paid really well. Then there's the mid list and everyone in between that doesn't. And so there's a greater stratification of disparity amongst pay rates at the professional and traditional levels, which then creates an access and demand issue. And so there is actually great marketable case to go the independent route. You have complete control over your marketing. If you go traditional, they might cut your budget. And then if you're not performing, they might zero your budget. So there's a lot of inherent risk.
Yeah, and I want to be involved with that. Because one of the things, how I said how the landscape has changed. One of the things, literally, it's the first cons that I went to in 2019, 2020, 2021, it was said that if you independently published your book, trad publishing wouldn't look at you. And the opposite is being said now, because people create their readership, and if they have the proven ability to create readership, then suddenly trad publishers
pick it up.
They pick it up
because they can be broader distribution.
Yeah, and they see that it's working, and that there's
Are you listening to that, Taming the Perilous Skies and ARC readers? Actually, I just said that as if I'm still thinking trad is still the gold standard, and that's what I would want. I would want to get that call from Lee Harris and say, hey, you finally got that to a point, and people are liking it, where I would take it. I'm not actually sure that I believe that anymore. I'm not sure I would even say yes to that. Okay, I probably would right now. I would.
But the question is, what is the gold standard? Is it about the prestige of going trad, or is it about money? Because even there's not a lot of money to track.
For me, it's about people reading the book, and so for me, it's an arm of distribution and of marketing and of and so that's what it is for me.
Yeah, and I agree with Len. It's I've heard a lot or a big shift in how indie publishing is seen, and it is very respected now, especially for those who are successful. It's seen just as legitimate or gold standard as trad in some cases. Some of the panels I said, yeah.
Great. It doesn't seem like the mid-list exists anymore in trad. Either you're a bestseller or they get rid of you. And so what indie publishing has done is they've absorbed the mid-list as a place for people to go who aren't like Brandon Sanderson, sounds ballsy or something, but can still find readership and make a living up.
Okay, so
and I would say it speaks to an entrepreneur in ways that are different. So someone with extreme,
good point,
such as Bill, such an entrepreneur.
Yep.
You have complete control over your fate. Your inputs are going to your inputs are going to be higher. Your risk is going to be higher. Your outcomes may be the same. You might build your audience. You might not. So there is also an allure to it for those who have more of an entrepreneurial spirit, which I think is pretty incredible. And just seeing what Phil's done with his work and how he's gone from cover, editing, getting the thing put into a physical copy. To me, anyone who gets anywhere close to that is successful. Getting a novel written by itself is a success. And so I think that we as a society have a lot of reckoning to do with what is defined as success, especially in an artistically focused business like this.
That's great. So we'll wrap up here, but before we do, let's go around the horn here. And what's the best thing or most surprising thing that you guys have seen at the con? Since we're on the day of the Hugos, John Scalzi's dance party was last night. BarCon is every night, and so what's been either the most interesting or surprising thing you've seen so far?
Just the idea that a lot of people. Like for instance, like professionals that we all like emulate and stuff like that. Like they started out in the same place as us, so there's a really big inclusivity in the field. It doesn't feel like you can't walk up to anybody and not talk to them. Maybe they're busy, maybe they have to go, but people will answer your questions. It really feels like there's a sense of paying it forward to the next generation of writers, and so I hope that can continue to happen because it's not a big community. So the more that people can engage and meet one another, it just makes it a more like fulfilling experience.
Yeah, I agree. That is also a theme I've seen where I've heard a number of people say that they have a favorite author and they get really nervous about going up and speaking to them, Shen, and they just go ahead and do it, and it turns out great. The pros that they talk to are very welcoming, and so having felt like that myself, where there is some type of a gulf between even just a reader and a pro, this con especially drives the point home of the pros love to talk to even readers. Even if you're not a writer, they love to talk to the reader. And so just go talk to them.
That's great.
Don't be weird about it, though.
Yeah, don't do it in the bathroom.
Well, so it's funny. I'll contribute to this arc as it goes. And last night, I stood for probably about 20 minutes with my hero, with Ted Chiang. And I sort of inserted myself into that in an awkward way. The restraining order has been lifted. I want to be very clear about that. And so, I just reminded him that he had met me a couple of times, and I actually mentioned to him that I make reference to him. When we have debates in my novel on, free will and, determinism, I actually invoke his name as if he's some sort of, like Einstein type of character, like a historical, expert on this stuff. It's kind of interesting. But then I saw a 19-year-old walk up, and he was just stars in the eyes, right? And he walks up to Ted Chiang, and he just gets all like nerd on him, like when you were doing this, were you thinking that was going to be with that? And what about math? Like the mathematics of that was really interesting. But did you think about that? Like what were you thinking when you put that together? I really want to know. And so for about the next 20 minutes, I watched as this, and I was just almost in tears because that amount of excitement and thrill for writing is the same that I feel. And so I was just, I don't know, it just makes you feel like words can matter, and people like Ted Chiang being accessible and willing to suffer through, fans like myself. It is amazing. And so that's an amazing thing I saw.
Yeah, I was also have been struck by how open everyone is, how passionate, and I think it's a field where people are here because they love literature and writing stories. People aren't here for the money, or they're not here because it's easy to do. It's very hard to finish a novel, as you know. And so it's something that people are here for a good reason, I think. And I think that just kind of lends itself to a really great kind of sense of community. And I think, that's maybe is part of why people are so open, and why it's such a welcoming atmosphere, even though there are so many varied opinions and so many, in a lot of cases, kind of, strong opinions. But I think they really come together at these kinds of things in a way that is very energizing.
Ditto the energizing. So for me, this has really reinvigorated my reason for being here. Not that I've ever lost it, but every time I come to these types of experiences, it just gives me juice to keep going, to wade through the sea of rejections and keep writing. And I remember the reason I'm writing is because I love putting words on the page and telling stories. But the community aspect of this is really what makes it so strong. You can walk into any conversation. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, where you've been, where you're going. All that matters is if you have that commonality of loving the written word, you're in, and you're in the conversation, and you're in the community. And that sense is really hard to find in the world, so I hope it gets guarded and maintained.
Yeah, everyone said how inspirational it is to be here, to meet writers, and to form community, and to be reminded of why we do what we do. So I agree with all of those things. But just to go back to the first point, I don't like to be hemmed in, right? So the idea that the landscape of how you can share your work is expanding has been one of the most important things, I think, as I near the end of one project and think about doing future writing projects. The idea that you can have some autonomy, that there's different avenues. Some of the writers that I've heard here have done both. They've done traditional publishing, they've done self-publishing, they've had success with one, they've had success with the other. And I think that's very important. I think it gives us a sense of agency and options moving forward as we continue to do what we love. So that's been a very important theme for me in this particular time.
Well, thank you. Before we say goodbye, TK Rex, get on over here. Yet another Taos 2023. Yeah, just go ahead and get on in here. We're just going to do a final adieu. But I saw you there, and you're part of this, the support network.
Stars showing up late.
Right, exactly. like somebody else I heard that had done that in the conference.
Well,
so TK Rex, everybody, also a fabulous writer, and she writes about island sex.
What?
Is that with a C or an X?
That's how I reviewed your work, as you'll remember. Remember?
Okay. I've been working on a novel for way too long. There are islands in it, and I may have been known to curse them out with profanity that could have been misinterpreted as a plot point.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And I internalize.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, you're
I'm not
just
saying
here.
it won't be in the sequel, but I have to get this one published.
But you actually are going to be. You're set to publish in January.
That's my collection. So I
Your
have.
collection. Okay.
Yeah, I have a collection of short climate fiction stories coming out next fall from Stelliform Press. It's called The Wildcraft Drones. Thank you.
Wildcraft Drones. That's what I remember. Okay, we're going to wrap up. And this is all for debut authors and part of my series. And so to you, debut author, just know that this community exists. It is kind. And they will carry you through when you are down. I will guarantee you, because these happen to me, as folks right here, over and over. And so don't let up. Just allow them to fill your sails and push forward. And I thank all of you for showing me that kindness, because truly, it's meant everything. So thank you.
Professional audiobooks in a click. Spoken.